I would like first to thank Maribel to invite me here and to La Estrella de Panama. When people like that get involved in the community, it's worth saluting. And also, as you know, the press is having a hard time everywhere in Canada and the US. And as they say, Facebook doesn't have a journalist in Panama, so please support your local press. So I'm here to talk to you about a success story. What happened in Montreal with the video game sector. Not so long ago in Montreal, we used to call it Plywood City because on the main trade and shopping streets, there were plywood in the front of the stores because the economy was in deep recession. It was difficult, a difficult time. One day someone said, hey, why don't we subsidize technological jobs? Everybody around him said, are you nuts? We're never going to do that. The guy was so determined that he traveled to France and he went to see the owners of Ubisoft. And he said, I know the Prime Minister of Quebec. If you come to Canada, we will subsidize your jobs 50%. The guy said, oh yeah, I'm coming. They brought the guys. It was not even true. The Prime Minister who knew the guy said, what did you do? And there was so much pressure that all of a sudden they decided to do it for Ubisoft. They said, okay, if you come and create 300 jobs, we'll subsidize 50% of your salaries. They did it. Now Ubisoft has the biggest single studio in the world in Montreal, 4,000 employees. So this worked. A crazy idea worked. So how do you do that here? Have crazy ideas? Because every country has its crazy people, and some of them deserve to be supported. I used to say to my kids, do you like the state of the world right now? They would say, no. I say, well, don't be like everybody else, because otherwise the world will stay the same. So what's the state of Montreal right now? Montreal is about Greater Montreal is about the same population as Panama, 3 million. Today, we have 140 studios of developers. We have big people like EA, Ubisoft, Gameloft, Warner Brothers, the biggest ones. We have a very creative and specialized workforce. 15,000 workers. That's a lot. Our costs are super low, 30% less than anywhere else in North America. Plus, we have the infamous tax credit of 37.5%. Imagine how cheap it is to create games. And finally, we have a great quality of life. From what I've seen so far, Panama has a great quality of life. It feels secure, it's beautiful. So creating hubs in places like that can happen. Because people, they like to live, they can live wherever they want now. And with the internet, they can travel from a distance. But then if you want to create a hub, you have to do like your vice mayor is promoting. You have to create a spark. You have to create an event. You have to create something that people will say, oh, in Panama, they know what they're talking about. We have the best competition in the Americas. Why not? Why not focusing on the whole continent? So that's a great idea. Who can be your leaders? Who are your crazy people? I just saw two, Rita and Fernando. Those people are worth supporting. You can see in their eyes the passion. You can see that they love it, and you can see that they will succeed. It's obvious to me. So what you need is, you start with those people. You need good education system. The Puerto Rico University is already taking steps towards that. So that's what you need. You need crazy people, and you need knowledge. And And as Fernando would say, you also need to support the government and the private sector. They have to commit. They have to say, we are going to promote this also. So Montreal, again, 5th in the world. Imagine we're competing with Tokyo, San Francisco, London, and Austin, Texas. We're way smaller than those people. Why us? Because we decided, like hopefully you will decide and support the initiatives that come from here. You can see here, Montreal is an island. You can see the companies that are there. And video games, what happened is that it doesn't bring only video games. I'm a trained lawyer specialized in international trade law. When I quit my law firm to go in video games, my mom started crying. She said, you're going to ruin your life. These are not real jobs. These are real jobs, right? So with those real jobs, what happens is that you bring other people. Do you see what I see? Google, Microsoft, Facebook should be there somewhere, even though they don't have a journalist in Montreal. So those companies, why are they there? Because of initiatives, because of video games is not only entertainment. Video game is also data. They say that data is more precious than petroleum, than oil. You know that, right? The more data, the richer, the merrier. Artificial intelligence. We have in video games what we call NPC, non-playing characters. It's like when you don't play with someone else, but play against the computer. Increasingly, with the accumulated data and machine learning, you will play against super intelligent computers. Well, this has applications in other things. Modeling, animation. If you're excellent at modeling a character, why wouldn't you be excellent at modeling a plane, a train, a car? So from video games stems all sorts of other industries that are super profitable and essential for the future of a country. See also what it brings? You have the developers, okay, but you have all sorts of services. Musicians, you probably have super great musicians. Last night I was in the old city and I saw super excellent players of a guitar and bongos, and I thought these guys, they could make a special flavor to Panama products, you know? Okay. Already. Unity, Epic, they have super big office in Montreal. Fernando and Rita will tell you that those are super important companies because they're the engines behind the games. We have associations. I'll skip because time is running. So see all the technological people that are there now? It's not only with video games, but video games helped a lot. They're here because they know that we have good schools, good universities, and they want to join in the party. So that's the history. We could probably make this available so people can read it, so how it happened and all that. Some of the games we made, some are very famous, all made in Montreal. This is all the people that come. Just recently, NetEase came from China. China is coming big. China is the biggest market right now in the world, bigger than the United States. So that's important. Then to finish, the cost. As you can see, first of all, now expertise. We have this expertise. You need to develop that expertise. Maybe with the City of Knowledge, plus with the University, Puerto Rico University. Because the companies, they will come if the people are able to understand. And a lot of people here, probably, you have the talented, but you have to just make them come out. You have to make them say, oh, come here, we'll make a competition. We'll give an award to the best prototype. Try to make people come from abroad. If you want to become a hub, try to get the Brazilians to come here. Fernando told me one of his team members is from Brazil. You bring them, and then they say, oh, in Panama it's hot. They support us. See all our universities? All those people you see? Oh, you don't see it? I'm not the only one seeing this? Oh, okay. Okay. So you see, we got lots of universities supporting the system. And look at the cost. If it's 100, look, everybody else is more expensive. See, look at the salaries. If you want to create a production, everybody is more expensive. So it's not all. I mean, tax credits are great. They're the most advantageous in the world for sure. But it's political leadership, support, financial support. We have CMF in Canada, Canada Media Fund. It's a competition. We can get up to $1.5 million to create a game. Can you believe it? So about 10, 15 studios every year, they will be supported. And it's a loan. If the game succeeds, they reimburse. If not, forget about it. So they can start again. I think Canada was special for one thing. It's because we created the first software for 3D. It was called Soft Image. And Microsoft bought it. So that was the seed. So you need a seed. And I think that the idea, right now, esport, I don't know if you know that, but League of Legends, the last tournament, there was more spectators than the Super Bowl.
Really?
That's something. That's really something. So, I mean, if you're there and you position yourself, when I studied marketing, they said that if you're the first to market, that's perfect, unless you're not too early, right? But now you're not too early, and you're not too late with esport. Because sometimes, we think we're too late. Like I had conversations with Fernando, and I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. We totally understand what we say to each other. I say, are you using Unity? Are you on Steam? No. He totally understands. So he's totally at the international level already. So you have those people. It's just a question of finding them and supporting them. There's access, like physical access, but there's also the access to the content itself. What do you do with your content? Because you can shoot people, boom, 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 and a lot of games are like that. But you can also use video games to change society. There's a movement called Games for Change. They're based in New York City. And every year I go to their event. It's in June, and I highly recommend to attend. And I even developed a game with them called Half the Sky to empower women around the world. So in games, you can decide to portray women a certain way or another way. You can decide to promote diversity or promote exclusion. So if you decide to embody good values into games, games become a vector for social change. And I think that's another important movement that we should get involved in. First, you start by using La Estrella, and you announce international competition for the best prototype of video game. Then people will apply, and you will see through the quality of what they do that lots of kids have already made their games. They're just at the beginning, and a prototype is not that, it's expensive, but it's not that expensive. So then you see, oh, there's a team here, there's a team there, there's talent. The winners, 3 prizes. You give them enough money to make sure that their prototype is super well polished. And then with that, you go and shop to publishers. And you have to find, for example, my chances after 30 years, I can call Nintendo and they call me back the next day. But it's not always like that. But still, if you have a good prototype, you call those people. You call Devolver, and you say, look, there's talent in Panama. Then there's another thing. One of the most neglected thing is that some of these kids, guys and girls, they know how to make games, but they don't know how to do business. And that's where the training starts. You have to support them with, don't go behind on your taxes. I remember one of my business, I financed it by not paying my taxes. Because I needed the money. I didn't do that for long, and I paid my percentage of a punishment for that. But what I mean is, you have to know how to do business, how to negotiate a contract. The publisher will arrive and say, oh, I want 70%. I saw that. And you go like, what? I paid for everything, I created everything, you want 70%? That's not true, but I saw people signing at 70%. The publisher shouldn't get more than 30%. But if you don't know, you don't know, right? How do you treat your employees? How do you find good human resources? There are all those questions. Video game, it's a business like any business. So if you don't apply business principles, you have a chance to crash the wall. So that's very important that there's state support or private support to help those startups. And some law firms in Canada or accountants, they give special discounts because they know that the studios will become big, right? But still, they give them special discounts and they support them when they grow. So you need that, I think. At this point in video games, it's not very well known. What's well known about Panama is that it's strategically located and that you have access to financing somehow. So the financing part of Panama should be involved. I think that if I were, well, I'm not going to say who am I to tell you what to do, but I mean, if there's a huge financial sector and there's a willingness in the government, sometimes I say, find a son of a rich, okay? And sometimes those people, they are, a rich banker probably has a gamer son or daughter somewhere. So you try to find them and you say, hey, Dad, give us money. I have only one thing to say, support your vice mayor.